comment, but you. They wouldn't oppose. Can you imagine?
All right, it's 5:30. I'll call us to order. Allison, will you please do a roll call?
Neeson,
Here.
Collins,
Here.
Merle,
Here.
Topliff,
Here. Okay. And Councilwoman Jessica Neese had a family emergency, so she will not be in attendance today, but we have a quorum, so please rise. Dear Heavenly Father, as we gather this evening, we ask that you influence our hearts and minds so that we can govern this city fairly and justly. We thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed on our community, and we ask your continued protection upon our city staff and crews. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Johnny, would you do the honors?
Sure. First up on is our consent agenda. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve consent agenda, all the items included therein.
I'll second. Go ahead. I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Nothing really seems out of order. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
We don't have any guests, do we?
No.
Okay, our first up is reading of the ordinances. Ordinance A, Bill 4759 to become ordinance 4759. This is the second reading. An ordinance to authorize the city administrator to execute a contract between the city of West Plains, Missouri and Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, providing for the installation of traffic signal battery components to be maintained by the commission.
These guys will.
I motion for Bill 4759 to become ordinance 4759, second reading.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion need?
Nope, I'll speak for Director Mitchell this evening. He had a school board meeting, so it was a conflict, but we haven't received any comments, but I'm happy to address any questions you might have.
Yeah, it's good to get the batteries back in there.
Yes, sir.
Allison,
Bill 4759 to become ordinance 4759, second reading. Neeson,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Topliff.
yes.
Next bill is Bill 4761 to become ordinance 4761. This is also a second reading, an ordinance providing for the adoption of the International Code, which include the 2021 Building Code, Section 10-83, 2021 Mechanical Code, Section 10-147, 2021 Property Maintenance Code, Section 10-349, 2021 Plumbing Code, Section 10-417, 2021 Fire Code, Section 20-3, 2021 Residential Code, Section 10-528, 2021 Fuel Gas Code, Section 10-522, 2021 Existing Building Code, Section 10-85, and the 2020 National Electric Code, Section 10-247.
Very good.
I make a motion for Bill 4761 to become ordinance 4761, second reading.
I second.
Okay, Dustin?
Again, just an update of our current building codes. We try to do that every other code cycle. And we, to my knowledge, have not received any comments. I don't know if Allison has or not, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you do have any.
No discussion. Allison?
Bill 4761 to become ordinance 4761, second reading. Neeson,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next bill is Bill 4762 to become ordinance 4762. This also is a second reading. An ordinance of the city of West Plains, Missouri, authorizing city administrator to execute a Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission Railway Highway Crossing Improvement Program Supplemental Agreement.
I motion for bill 4762 to become ordinance 4762, second reading.
I second.
Okay. Hello, Michael.
Good evening. So again, this is just where we were updating the agreement we had with MoDOT and BNSF for the overpass project. They wanted it to go through ordinance, and this is why second reading.
Yeah.
Any questions?
One step closer.
Yes.
So when's the shovels gonna start flying?
So we are ideally, we're wanting to have it to go to bidding in March. And then give it 6 weeks, probably another 2 to 3 weeks to make sure everybody here signs off through all the granting agencies. Let's see. May, June. Late June, July is probably the most realistic expectation. I'm not saying it's not possible sooner. I just wouldn't count on it.
What is the planned construction period?
It'll be 18 months.
Okay, thanks.
It's a long one.
Yeah. Well, it's a big,
Big project.
yeah, yeah. All right, Allison,
Bill 4762 to become
thank
ordinance.
you, Mike.
4762, Neeson,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes,
Our next bill is Bill 4764 to become ordinance 4764. This is the first reading. An ordinance of the city of West Plains, Missouri to repeal and replace Chapter 46 Utilities, Article 5 Stormwater Management of the City Code.
I make a motion for bill 4764 to become ordinance 4764, first reading.
I second.
All right, good evening again. When we had our most recent stormwater audit, one of the things that was made known and kind of brought to our attention is that our existing code was a little out of date. Not a big deal, but we are supposed to update that regularly. The primary difference between what has changed is we used to have that stormwater utility fee. Any and all mention of that has since been removed. And I mean, that's the substantive change between
yeah.
what we already had and what we are proposing now.
Mike, is that being taken off because of the Hancock Amendment?
Years ago, when St. Louis went through their stuff, yes, that was the,
Yeah.
it was never formally challenged, but it was more of a Supreme Court came down up there. And so it was a, hey, we'll drop it. And if and when we ever decide again, we'll take it to the people. But for now, it was just kind of, we stopped collecting and just never removed it from our code.
Thank you.
Allison,
Bill 4764 to become ordinance 4764, first reading, Neeson,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Merle,
Yes.
Topliff.
yes,
Our last bill for the evening is 4765 to become ordinance 4765. This is also the first reading, an ordinance of the city of West Plains, Missouri to amend and repeal the following 6 existing sections of the city code. Chapter 18, Courts, Article 2, Municipal Court, Section 18-29, Security for Courts Costs, Section 18-63, Assessment of Cost, Sections 18-39, Assessment for Spinal Cord Injury Fund, Section 18-41, Collection of additional costs for certain violations involving motorcycle or motor tricycle, Section 18-44, Appeals, subsection C, Section 18-45, Sheriff's Retirement Fund.
I make a motion for bill 4765 to become ordinance 4765, first reading.
I second.
okay. Sam,
Yep, thank you, Mayor. Charles can chime in on this one as well, but we received an audit from state court system late last year, and they went through our ordinances again and found some things that we needed to clean up. either in relation to some fees that we were charging or fees that we weren't charging. So a lot of it is just mainly housekeeping to make sure that that our ordinance stays in compliance with state statute. Charles, you want to chime in if there's anything else?
No, it was strictly housekeeping because we weren't collecting anything we weren't supposed to, even though the ordinances were there, and we were collecting what we were supposed to. So now our ordinances just reflect what we're actually doing. And some of these things have been collected in the past and the court decisions and so forth, they're just no longer applicable. And one of them I don't think was ever applicable, but we never collected it, but it somehow got in there.
So why was the sheriff's retirement fund on there?
Well, that was collected for a while and that was challenged and through some long drawn out litigation. By court decision, that had to be retracted across the board. And when that was retracted, we stopped collecting it, but we still had the ordinance authorizing the collection. There were some folks unhappy about that and they ultimately prevailed.
I don't suppose we got a refund, did we?
No, that's interesting. At the risk of giving you too much information, if you paid a speeding ticket, you probably got, during that time it was being collected, you probably got a postcard saying that because of a class action, if you file your claim, you'll get your $3 or $6 back. And I'll be candid and say that I got a couple of those postcards, but I never got any money back.
Good. All right, Allison.
Bill 4765 to become ordinance 4765, first reading. Neeson,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Merle.
Yes.
Topliff.
Yes.
Our last item is resolutions, resolution 2024-1, a resolution by the city of West Plains, Missouri to adopt the updated stormwater management plan.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-01.
I second.
Good evening again. Again, back to that audit we had, one of the biggest discrepancies, or I guess the merits will say, it wasn't that we were doing things wrong. It's that we weren't documenting how we were doing the things. And so updated management plan kind of outlines where a lot of that information can be found. In conjunction with this, we're also putting together a refined standard operating procedure, or like a manual of standard operating procedures for just different things across the board that deal with how we handle stormwater management.
Are we doing that in-house?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, no further discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Seems there's no council action, so. Sam?
Just a few things for you this evening. Thank you to our streets and electric crews this past weekend for doing the work on the streets. Shane is, I believe, also at a school board meeting this evening, so he wasn't able to attend, but electric crews did a good job. I think they had to replace 3 transformers over the course of the weekend. Otherwise, thankfully, the snow wasn't wet, didn't hang on to our lines very long, and so I was able to fall off. Very minor issues this week. We did run our generation unit number 2, starting on Saturday morning, I believe, and then through about 1:30 this afternoon. We'll have to run it again for about 4 hours tonight. So we'll have a crew coming in, making sure that that runs smoothly. And reminder, next week we'll need to hold a special meeting to approve a couple of bid items. One for some electrical line work involving the overpass, St. Louis Bridge, as well as the construction of the 69 kV line into our 3rd substation. And Galloway detention basin construction will be a bid that'll also be on your list, as well as a couple of truck bodies for our utilities department to get those through the pipeline. So, and looking at everybody's schedule, looks like Monday or Tuesday seems to work for everyone. So I'll shoot out an email, make sure that we get that date and time hammered down. I suspect it could be again, we'll kind of talk through some times to make sure that it works for everybody, but then we'll get that agenda posted this week for our meeting next week. So, and then finally, I wanted to wish Allison, our city clerk, best wishes as she leaves us and takes on a new challenge up in the Rolla area. Thank you for your service. It's been a pleasure having you, and we'll miss you.
Same.
I'll second that.
Yes. Yeah, I'll miss my radar. He's kept me out of a lot of trouble in the last couple of years. So I appreciate that so much.
Anytime.
I was gonna say something also to you, but
Jump in.
I did receive several compliments on the streets on how well they were, and I guess Scoop Dog did the trick or,
Yeah.
yeah.
They were out there.
but,
So
yeah.
do we have a competition among the players of the?
I don't
Fire
believe we
truck-
do. I don't think so. We just hope they get out there, do the work and do it safely and
Yeah.
get back inside to warm up a little bit. So. Yep, yeah.
Well,
That's all I have for you this evening.
all right.
Sam, I've got a question.
Sure.
Explain to me how Evergy
Mhm.
requests us. And what is our benefit of turning on and running the fuel through the generators? How,
Mhm.
what's the payback?
So it isn't actually Evergy, it's Southwest Power Pool. So we're
Okay.
members, so it's basically through federal government. We're part of that pool that is supposed to generate power for the grid. So in instances where they suspect there's not going to be enough power, they will reach out to the entities that have generation units and ask them to run and operate, just to make sure that there's enough power to the grid to supply everybody. So that power doesn't necessarily stay here. It just goes to the grid and is able to be used by anybody that's in that network.
So do
So
we get any benefit out of that?
we pay the cost. We do get a reimbursement for the cost that we do pay for the fuel. So depending on the time of season, when we're asked to run our generation units, we try to run gas as much as we can because that's a little bit more cost effective than diesel. But obviously cold weather is diesel operation. So we switch over to diesel for that. So,
Thank you.
you bet.
Can you turn it up a little bit higher?
I don't want to spend more money than we have to, sir. So
Well,
I can get you a coat if you need one.
this summer they were working on the air conditioner. I think they got it fixed in here because it's cold. It's
Still
working now. All right, no further business. May God bless and